What if I told you that you could eat healthier than 90% of students for around £2 per meal using just a mason jar and 5 minutes of prep time? Hi, I'm Dr. Tila, a GP with over 13 years of experience and a plant-based health coach. Today I'm sharing 4 game-changing jar meal recipes that parents have been asking me for, perfect for students heading off to university or college. But honestly, these are brilliant for anyone who wants something quick and nutritious. We're talking overnight oats and instant noodle jars that blow pot noodles and sugary cereals out of the water. These are nutritionally balanced, budget-friendly meals that will actually fuel your brain and your body. So the reason why I thought this video would be a good one is that most people don't know that about 2/3 of a UK adolescent's diet is from ultra-processed foods. Now I don't mean plant-based milks, but what I mean is things like donuts, crisps, pizzas and burgers. Now whilst I'm saying those meals aren't bad to have from time to time and enjoy, they shouldn't be forming the bulk of our calories. The reason being is most young people that I see as patients, they haven't developed any long-term health conditions. They haven't got heart disease or high cholesterol yet. However, they tend to have symptoms like acne, feeling sluggish with their bowels and being constipated and bloated, having brain fog and not being able to concentrate, low mood and irritability, for example. And the reason why is that we've got trillions of gut bugs that live in our intestines, and those gut bugs take fiber from whole plant foods. Fiber is only found in plant foods, and they fix this fiber, they eat the fiber to make these wonderful chemicals called short-chain fatty acids. And these short-chain fatty acids protect us against all manner of diseases and symptoms. When we have a Western-style dietary pattern where we're eating more ultra-processed foods, more animal products and less whole plant foods, then you get bad bacteria that basically make us feel the opposite. So we're trying to crowd out those foods. And I'm not saying that we can't use ready-made hacks, because they can be lifesavers, especially when you don't have much time. And that's why I'm going to show you that we can compromise. We can use some ready-made products, but they are going to be nutritionally better than the alternatives. So let's get started. Okay, so let's make recipe 1. We're going to make lemon blueberry overnight oats, and I promise you this tastes like cake. It tastes like you're having dessert for breakfast, and it's so easy to make. So I've got some oats here, I've got some rolled oats, and if you've watched my videos before, oats are so good for you because they contain beta-glucans. These are chemicals that basically mop up cholesterol, and oats have slow release energy. They will keep you fuller for longer and also help you concentrate, so they're a win-win. So I'm going to pour that in now. Never pour out of a wide jar into here. My mum's like, you've done science? Let's put that in there. Common sense has disappeared out of my brain. You didn't see me do this. All right, so that's the oats put in. We're going to mix all the dry ingredients, and then we're going to add some ground flaxseed. The flaxseed needs to be ground because that releases more omega-3 fats. Now let me tell you about omega-3 fats. So we have 3 essential fatty acids, omega-6 and omega-3. I'm going to put this down before I hurt anyone. So we need both of them from our diet, but we need a sweet ratio. So in Western style dietary patterns, we have too much omega-6, which if we have too much of can cause inflammation. Inflammation is the starting point of every disease, and omega-3 is one that we need more of but we don't consume enough of. So things like flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts and hemp seeds have ALA, which is a form of omega-3, which gets converted in our body to DHA and EPA, which our body uses. Now how much our body converts can vary. Now some people want to hedge their bets and make sure they have an optimal amount of DHA and EPA, and so they can take an algae-based supplement if you're plant-based. Now algae is the original source of DHA and EPA. Fish actually eat the algae, and that's how fish get it. And then another thing is, I mentioned omega-6, right? Now omega-6, we do need it, but we only need it in small amounts. Things like nuts, they are a good source of omega-6, but when we have lots of ultra-processed foods and animal products that are cooked in oils, for example, too many oils, then that increases the omega-6 levels, and that can cause inflammation. So it doesn't matter how much flaxseed or fish or algae supplements you're taking, we need to lower the amount of ultra-processed foods that we're consuming. So we'll add that in. Then we'll add some chia seeds for more omegas. I've got some lemon zest here. Then I'm going to add some vanilla-based protein powder. Now this is totally an optional step. You can just add less plant-based milk if you're not adding this. But I like the fact that this will sustain energy, especially as students aren't lazy like I was. They're actually working out now and looking fit and health conscious. So I've got some My Vegan Impact vegan protein that's vanilla flavored. I like this in the UK. I've tried so many brands. I also have heard that Form Nutrition is a really good blend as well. This is made from pea protein isolate and fava bean protein isolate. So we're going to put 1 scoop, which is about 30 grams. If I don't get it all over my top, so we'll add that in. Make sure I don't spill it everywhere. There we go. Next, I'm going to add a little bitty pinch of salt. If you can even see that in the camera, that's optional. Okay, we'll give that a good mix. Next, we're going to add our wet ingredients. Now add this to taste. If your protein powder is very sweet, you may not need to add this. Well, there's some lemon going in, that's what I meant. We're going to add some lemon juice. Next, we're going to add some vanilla extract. Now we're going to use some plant-based milk. I've got soya unsweetened milk, but use your plant milk of choice. This adds extra protein. Will I spill it? Okay, I will spill it. Let's add it in slowly. We'll be here forever, but hey, fast forward 100 years later. Now I like mine's a little bit runny, and this will gel up when it goes in the fridge. But if you like yours thicker, then add less plant-based milk. Next, I've got some blueberries. Now I've used frozen blueberries, which I've defrosted. And actually, if you put them frozen, they will just defrost overnight in the fridge, but you can even make this in the morning. By the time you transport it to university or college, it will defrost and it will taste nice actually. It will taste like a frozen dessert. So whatever you like, but they're so budget friendly, but use fresh if you like. Okay, so we'll just add that now, and then later on we'll decorate it nicely. You can already see those colors. Look at those colors. Slowly running out of spoons. So we're gonna put the lid on. That's just milk that I spilled, so don't worry about that. We'll give that a tidy and we'll do the next one. Okay, so the next flavour is chocolate cherry overnight oats. I can't decide between the two. You tell me in the comments which flavour you like better. So we'll add some oats again. Next we'll add some more flaxseed. Powder. Some protein powder again, totally optional. We're just going to add 1 scoop. Use whatever flavour you like. So you can use a chocolate based one. You can use caramel, for example. Next we're going to add some cocoa powder. Half of it's gone across the bowl there. You can add a pinch of salt here if you like, and we'll give that a good mix. This is dirty work, all right, aunties, don't tell me off. It's being clean later. We'll add some more vanilla extract, some more plant-based milk. We'll add some more maple syrup. Again, this is optional. We'll give that a good mix. Next, we're going to add some cherries. Again, I bought them frozen and I defrosted them. We'll hide the sorry looking ones inside, and then we'll display it with the nice ones on top. An optional step, if your budget allows it, you can put some dark chocolate chips or use a bar of dark chocolate, which I've cut up into lovely little shreds here. So we'll put that in. And again, only if budget allows, this is not necessary. You can add some flaked almonds. So let's put the lid on. All right, so let's get going with the noodle jars. Now the sauces are going to be very different. I wouldn't recommend using these jars ordinarily. They're just here for show, to look pretty on Instagram. Find some safe jars that basically are heat resistant and can be shaken with the lid on. And then you can just take them to work, or you can take them to university and just add boiling water. You need to make sure obviously it's tight so you don't get scalded. Alternatively, what you can do is transfer them into another bowl. You can actually even put them in the microwave with cold water if you don't have a kettle. So let's do the first sauce. I've got a spicy Korean style one. You might not have all the ingredients, so you can substitute them. So I've got some gochujang, which is a spicy fermented chili paste, which is Korean. You can buy it from a Southeast Asian store. If you haven't got this, use sriracha instead. Now, I don't know how spicy you want it. Please don't judge me for how someone has opened this box, but we're gonna add, I think I'm gonna do 1.5 tablespoons for me, but I think 2 was too much for me, but if you could take the heat, take the heat. Otherwise, you know, add just 1 tablespoon or 1 teaspoon, whatever you prefer. So I've got that in there, it's quite sticky. So we've got some soya sauce. Use some reduced sodium soya sauce if you like. Sorry, this is what my husband bought. So we add 1 tablespoon. And then we're gonna add some rice wine vinegar. Which way does it open? We'll open it this way and we'll put that in. Maybe I should have kept the other spoon. This is optional, but I've got the rice wine vinegar again. This is optional, but I've got some sesame oil. So I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon, a bit more than that, in there. Then we'll add some maple syrup. We'll add 1 clove of ginger. 1 clove of ginger. We're gonna add half a teaspoon of grated fresh ginger. You can use frozen. You can actually buy ginger in squeezy bottles as well from the supermarket. So we'll add that in. Then we'll add 1 clove of garlic. All right, let's mix that now. So what you can do is that you can leave this in a separate container to your actual jar. That will be the best way to add it. And then add your boiling water, then add the sauce in and then give it a stir. But for viewing purposes, I'm going to put this at the bottom of the jar. So we've got our jar here. I'm just going to try and add this slowly so we don't drop it. So next we're going to make the Miso-Tahini ramen noodle jar. If you can't get tahini, it's quite an expensive product, but it does last ages. You can use a runny peanut butter instead, but obviously if you're nut free, add tahini. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of tahini. I'm just going to mix it so that we get the lovely thick bit. Just move that closer. Try and let go of the expensive tahini that I don't want to waste. Ooh! Pretend you didn't see that, but we're trying to add a tiny bit because I spilled a bit, okay? So we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of white miso paste. Use whatever color miso paste you've got. If you haven't got miso paste, then add extra soy sauce. Now this is already salty, it's fermented, so you may not need to add soy sauce, but I'm gonna add a tiny bit because it gives it a bit of umami. Were they frowning there? Sorry, guys, you know I love you. I know I'm a small channel, but I really appreciate every one of you, and I love it when you guys comment. So please, if you disappear, I'm talking to, you know, my biggest fans, all right? If you disappear, I get upset. So please leave me a comment there. Let me know you're there. Oh, my daughter's watching this and she's smiling in the back. Then we're gonna add some more rice wine. Next, we're gonna add some more rice wine vinegar. I said it properly this time. We're gonna add some sesame oil. Again, this is optional. Then we're gonna add some maple syrup. We're gonna add some nutritional yeast. Don't shoot me, this is not traditional, but it gives it a nice savory taste. Add that in. So this is garlic that I've minced. Again, you can buy it in a squeezy tube, you can buy it frozen. And often people think, oh, I'm not using any frozen foods, the fresh is best, but actually frozen is frozen at the point where the food has the most nutrition, for example, like frozen berries. So there's nothing wrong with using frozen, and it's more economical because it lasts for ages compared to if you bought fresh. You don't know how many people waste food like that. So then we'll add a little bit of ginger. That's the final ingredient of the sauce, and we're going to mix this. You can add a bit of water if this is not runny enough. I've got a bit greedy there with the tahini, adding more. Okay, then I'm going to put this at the bottom of my jar. I'm going to add a very small amount of soy sauce just to give it an extra depth, but you don't have to add this. Let's add that at the bottom of our jar. Our friend the fly has come. I'm very hungry. It's obviously a posh fly who likes gochujang. I can hear you. Was the tofu not enough last time? All right, so we're going to layer these now. I just bought some ready packs of stir-fry veg, and I basically chopped them up really fine. You can actually use any vegetable you like tinned bean sprouts or bamboo shoots, for example. So I've got various ingredients here, and I'll talk you through them. So I've got these noodles that are a mix of buckwheat and wheat noodles. I didn't want to use the instant noodles because they're made out of purely wheat noodles. They are more of a refined grain, and they will cause blood sugar spikes and slumps in energy. Now, I prefer using fresh noodles that I've boiled. They only take 5 minutes. So while you prepare all the other ingredients, you can get your noodles ready according to packet instructions. This is a mixture of buckwheat and wheat noodles. Now, they're not 100% buckwheat because this makes them cheaper. However, compared to wheat noodles, they have fiber in them, so they're going to keep you fuller for longer and feed those gut bugs. There'll be a steady release of energy. So let's put half of that in here. Now, if you're going to use the instant noodles, they do need hot water to cook, so put them at the top, but I'm going to put these at the bottom because they're already cooked. Look at the way I'm holding them. Well, let's put them in. Oh, Lord. There we go. My hands are clean, obviously. They're stuck to the side now. They get very starchy when you put them in the fridge, so just bear that in mind. Got some in here. Hello. Did you miss me? Oh, this one's looking a little bit sad and lonely compared to that one. Let's put a bit more in there. There we go. All right. Now, shock horror, I'm using a ready-made ingredient. I've got some cauldron tofu pieces, which are already ready marinated. If you add hot water, they will cook quite easily. Now, people get into this perfection, right? Either you eat fully whole food plant-based, or you eat an ultra-processed diet and don't bother. I don't believe in that. I believe there are ways that we can chase progress and not perfection. Obviously, if you're a student or low on time, this is better than having to prepare everything from scratch. Also, not all processed foods are created equal. Now, obviously, if you use something like ham or pork sausages, that's a type 1 carcinogen, increases the risk of many cancers, especially colorectal cancer. However, tofu with a few added ingredients, you're still getting the benefits of soya, which is, for example, balanced hormones and protection against breast and prostate cancer. So it's a good addition. So I'm going to add half the packet in here and half in here. Obviously, these are display jars, so we're not going to add all that we can, but the written recipe is in the description below, so do follow that. Or maybe we can. So next we're going to add our vegetables. You always want to put the hearty vegetables, the ones that cook longer, at the bottom, and then put the ones that take the least amount of time at the top. So I've got some cut up baby sweet corn. Let's add that first. We're going to have a beautiful layer of colour. I'm smiling, I'm not lagging. Flagging? Can't even say the word properly at the moment. I'm going to add the cabbage now. My hands are going to go purple. Purple cabbage is brilliant because it contains anthocyanins, so do our blueberries as well, and our cherries, which are powerful antioxidants. So pro tip here is that if you've got a vegetable that comes in different colours, choose a darker colour because it tends to have more antioxidants. I'm not going to have room in this jar. I think we need a bit more purple, or have I added too much purple? Next we'll add our sugar snap peas. You can actually eat all of these vegetables raw, so actually it doesn't really matter if you leave them only for a few minutes. And you can prep these jars ahead of time and keep them in your fridge for about 3 to 4 days. This will be a lovely care package to give students when they're going to university. You can write the instructions for them, get them all the ingredients to make themselves, or make ahead for them for the next 3 to 4 days, depending on how generous you feel. Don't know if my kids are going to get this amount of love. I only do it for the camera. I think his face. Next we're going to add our red bell pepper. I'm running out of room. I told you this is for aesthetics only. Final touches, this is optional. I've got some chopped up spring onion. These ones that look better. So Rebecca, you cut this for me. Very disappointed. Finally, we've got some coriander. Again, totally optional. Maybe it should have been optional because look, clumping everywhere. Next, we're going to add some sesame seeds. Now this is optional. And we just sprinkle some black sesame on top. Sesame seeds on top. Use white sesame seeds if you have them. And that's it. All we're going to do is put the lids on, and then when you're ready to serve, just put some hot boiling water on top and give it a good mix. Please do not use these jars, I'm telling you, they're just for aesthetic purposes only. You can actually even use any sort of lunchbox and do it the same way. And there you have it, 4 simple jar meals that prove eating well as a student doesn't have to break the bank or take hours in the kitchen. If you'd like to see more recipes like these, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. What other quick budget-friendly meals would you like me to create? Maybe some one-pot wonders, or perhaps some healthy snacks that actually satisfy. Drop your ideas down there, and I'll see you in the next video.